I just have a question about the bikini, the posing. Is there like a 10-second limit on the pose on the stage?
Again, you know what? It depends. I will tell you, and I was going to touch base on this before we end the seminar. Is at the bigger shows, they do have the expeditor, and we will on stage tomorrow. So whether it's bikini or figure, you're going to go out, you're going to do front and back, or you're going to do your quarter turns. They're going to start sending out the next one, and it's usually like a 10 or 15 second. You know what I mean? Again, it's just because the numbers, and just so that each competitor gets the same amount of time out on stage. Yep. But again, it varies because again, if it's a smaller show, the promoter's going to give you more time. If it's a bigger show, they're not. I mean, if anybody has come to the USA and the Nationals, it's like you no sooner walk out there and they're sending that next person out. You know what I mean? So it just depends on the But again, you're good if you're doing bikini front and back. Like I said, you know what I mean. And you're going to probably do do a little bit of cock to the side. You're going to do like 3 or 4 or 5 poses up there, and then the next person will be coming out. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Happen to think of a question. As far as the cut of the bottoms of the suit for bikini versus figure, are figure girls limited to a certain cut? In other words, can I wear a bikini cut bottom in a figure competition? You know what? Nobody. And again, I know this always comes up, but the NPC does not put any regulations on the suits that you wear other than as far as the modesty part, you know what I mean? But as far as the cut, the style, that's up to you as an individual. One thing I wouldn't mind talking about, because I've really had a hard time with this, I'm not sure why the bikini girls wear the suits straight across. I'm not sure why we don't hike them up a little bit like we do figure, because to me that's so much more flattering to a female's physique. Yeah, it is. I'm gonna
I do think that pulling the sides up makes your waistline look smaller, but because the posing in figure and bikini is so different, in bikini you can twist at the waist in your front pose, whereas in figure you have to face straight forward. So I would not recommend wearing a bikini suit in figure because it will make your waistline look wider. A figure suit is cut purposely so that it sits above your hip bone to make your waistline look smaller so you have more of an hourglass shape. So it makes your back look bigger, your waist look smaller, your hips look more shapely, so you have that kind of X frame. So if you're competing in figure, get a figure suit. If you're competing in bikini, get a bikini suit.
I'm just not sure why the bikini bottom's not the same bottom as the...
I totally agree with you because with your suit sitting very low and straight across, all that does is make your hips look wider. Yeah. Now, if your particular physique it looks better by making your hips wider, that you're so narrow, you need to make them look wider. That might look better on you. But most girls
look better with the suit up just a little bit. Yeah.
I have a question about the posing. When girls cross their feet, I think it looks bad on some of the girls, but not others. Is that something that the judges are looking for now?
Well, you know what? It's that, and that's the whole thing between the girls that stand with the legs apart or stand with the crossing of the hips. Because I think a lot of the girls didn't like the way they felt when they did it with the legs apart. They just didn't feel like that was, was a comfortable move for them. So they started doing with the legs crossed. And to be honest with you, from a judging standpoint, I don't really care either way, as long as neither of them are over accentuated. So same thing, I would do what, what I mean, what you feel comfortable with and what looks better, with your physique.
Yeah, girls ask that all the time. I don't think there's not a standard.
No, that's what I'm saying. No.
And I think what happens is you'll see, if you're not at a show, I always say go to shows because then you can see what the girls are doing. But if you just look at pictures, you'll see maybe 5 girls that time are completely with their legs spread. Another show you can see everyone's kind of crossed. And I think it's just kind of the amateurs look at the pros and they go, oh, she won, or she did her butt like that, her pose like that. But I've tried that spread leg thing, it just doesn't work. So there's poses that you've got to do it, and you've just seriously got to have someone take pictures for you, and just have someone behind you and pose to see, like, you go through people's back poses and go, oh, that looks good. Do it on yourself and be like, oh, that looks horrible. And then, you know, and then once you can practice those poses, the way I say about posing is pick like your front pose, a nice like side pose to give you a waist, and then a couple, maybe 1 or 2 back poses, and get those poses like to where you know what they feel like. You need to pose where you're like, okay, this is what feels really good, so you know you're hitting it when there's no mirrors, and then just transition into those poses. So that's like, instead of, you'll see in bikini, a lot of girls are very like, they think about it, and the only thing I can advice-wise is, so if you're doing a pose and you want to hit this pose, you'll see girls, instead of just kind of like getting into it, they'll be like, and that's the part you don't want, because then you just look like, you know what I mean? But if you just kind of just think of like moving into it, but you know what looks good, like if this is your pose, but this just doesn't sometimes work. This now, I'm telling you, this takes some serious guts, because when you're up there in heels and you're thinking about crossing it, I'm telling you, like 80% you're gonna be like, okay, cross it, and you'll get that. So the best thing is I would say get rid of the side stance. Ladies, anyone that's practicing that tomorrow, it's not worth the headache. It's not even worth the headache thinking, oh my gosh, I might fall, because it's some are carpet up there and some, you know. So a good one is just, you know, squeezing your butt. We always like to push it, you know, your butt, but you don't want to be like that. It just looks ghetto. Classy. We got to be classy. And so, but like I said, it's posing what the best for your body. And yeah, like that's what I do, yeah. Like she's saying, like a T.
Instead of crossing them.
Crossing, I'm telling you.
Do me a favor, do it in front of the table, so A, they can see it, and Squee's gonna get it on video.
Fabulous. Okay.
Because this is a question we get all the time.
Because people, like I said, this would be one. Some girls do this, which looks nice. But if you're up there and you've just hit your pose and you're like, I'm rocking and I'm feeling good. Hey, here comes the back pose. And then you're like, all right. And then you go for one of these and it's just like, oh, snap. It's that messed. Boom, you throw it off. And now you're like, I just messed up, I just lost. And then you'll turn into, you know what I mean? So what I like to do is kind of just hit my front one and then hit my back one. And then instead of like doing this whole action, just kind of like this. That way your butt's up, you still get your arch, and you can either put your hands like here, it kind of makes it nice. Some girls do this. I don't think we need that in bikini to show your back. Not looking for striations in the back. But, and then if you want to go into this from here, or that, when they're in the back, yeah. Yeah, because sometimes sometimes girls will go like this, and it almost flattens your butt. So what I like to do is lift and twist. You got to get this one lifted, because this one, this is so random. Is this even, have I ventured off into a different like category? Oh, we're still on bikini, right? Okay.
Really focused on how to get to that pose.
Yeah.
And it's like I said, any place else you do, they go, what the heck?
Yeah. That guy out there, he's watching. He's like, no, I'm joking. Smoking a cigarette. He's like, yeah, that one's good. No, so anyway, it's.
You do, we just get so, I mean, people want to know exactly, understand what makes it more comfortable and what makes it.
And a lot of people think that when they see now a series of girls doing this, that this is a mandatory, and it's not. If you can get to there like this and you like the way that looks, if you can do this, you will see this, you will see heels in. This, some people get away with it. Looks freaking great. You know, but so you got to do what looks best for your body, and then the only way you're doing that is you're first of all being honest, because you're like, that looks horrible. Videotape yourself, go through your little routine, pull out your flip cam or your camera phone, hey, and you know, and just work into it, and you'll see, you'll be like, hey, you'll do that, and wow, that looked really bad, so how do I get there? Okay, well, let's switch it up this way, and hey, and so that's all. So yeah, so just do what's best for you, pose what's best for you, practice a lot, practice getting into it, and don't assume that you have to do a certain standard pose, because always, heck, we could have someone in here that's creating a new back pose for the future. So try it out, and then we'll steal it. Right?
But no, I mean, there is not. We don't, I mean, like more with the figure where we say to you, you know, we want quarter turns and stuff. You know, we'll just say, like I said, it's a 180 to the front, hand on either hip, and a 180 to the back, hand on either hip. How you do it is how you feel more comfortable with. Absolutely.
Thank you.